hmm Hello, my name is Umbra. I'm the Hierophant of the Temple of the Eternal Eclipse, and welcome to Magic Class. So, we've been talking about alchemy the last couple of days, and I'm going to make some available resources on my YouTube so that people can just check the content at their leisure and then maybe have questions answered that are commonly asked. Understandings about the nature of the place you find yourself, to aid your comprehension of what's maybe happening in your own experience or what's happening at large. So I'm going to discuss spirits, or people might call it chi, or there's lots of ways I guess you can refer to it, but spirits. Okay, so I might refer to spirits as opposed to something like chi as distinct. Spirits being something that has the living properties, right? The breath of life. Spirit, of course, comes from a word that supposedly means breath. You see, look at the S shape here. And then P is a plosive, so it comes out. Spirits. And then I is a little small. So, spirits. So, I might distinguish this from chi, in that chi is maybe perhaps undefined potential, or maybe people might call it energy, but I wouldn't call that. I would say it's like maybe an aura is a more modern word for how I might refer to this, but what you have available. Maybe it's like your lung capacity or the amount of air you can hold in your breath, and this would be something you breathed into existence. Perhaps that might be a way of framing it. So, spirits. First, I want to talk about why it is that you might not be experiencing what you might call a spirit, as I am able to, or maybe others. Spirits. Why can't you experience these spirits in your sensations, your senses? Well, it is that you can, and you are actually. Part of the illusion of separation that people talk about is not that we're all the same entity. That's not the illusion. The illusion is that you are somehow separate and apart from things like the spirit realm, or the afterlife, or the etc. You're not. Everything in existence, everything has a spirit. Okay, living things. So everything has a spirit. Okay. Why did that? So, it is just that you in your body, right? This body, your vessel, that you act through, right? Which, can breathe out the breath, in, inhale, and exhale. Your body is down in this world where there are many other individuals' awarenesses, right? And collectively, you might say, we create the world, the whole universe. All right? Now, in alchemy, it says that each is in each. So it could be the case that as a human being, I can possess the same spirit any other human being has created. Right? We share this sort of common senses, the common features, and there are similarities between each individual. And I might be an angry person, should I wish to be, or I might experience the spirit of sadness, right? Or I might perform some action, which we call karma, to the production of some spirit, right? Because we can breathe things into life, or we can act them out to create spirit, right? So if I might go to the gym, work out. And should I go to the gym, I might develop a spirit of strength physically. I can have access to that. I don't necessarily have that as a default. It is available for me to pick. So this is then like a garden, in which I can pick and choose which portions that I want to be present in my spirit as a part of me. I might not exclude any one of these spirits, if I'm wise, from potential to reside inside of me. However, I might have a preference. I pick this one and this one. These are my favorite. These ones just not as interesting. Okay. So if this is the case, it's just everything that we experience. Yes, but there is a distinction you might make between that which is gross, the gross spirit, or the gross body, the gross experience, and the subtle. Okay. Humans, by and large, are here. Right? It's like the gross weight versus the net weight versus this. So why is it that we are experiencing this gross matter, gross world, as opposed to the subtle? Well, it's because not that we lack spirit, perhaps, but we are inundated. It is this huge mass swirling around us like a windstorm, like we see on the planets, right? Churning of the Milky Ocean. And we are here, and we are constantly being bombarded by what we have created. We've breathed life into. The karma that we've built for ourselves. Our actions, they have consequence. We create a spirit, and the spirit is a part of us because of our actions, and we are not free of it, particularly if we have ideations, thoughts, imaginings, projections. We speak life into it. We create it for ourselves. You're a piece of shit. Nobody loves you. You're ugly. You're never going to be successful. You need to get a job. To get this thing, you need to be. So these things we breathe life into, and they come and do what they're meant to do, what they're created to do exactly what you commanded them to demonstrate that you are ugly, to demonstrate that you are a piece of shit. That's what you've given them the qualities of, right? They are like me-seeks. Have you ever seen Rick and Morty? Little me-seeks that you smash the button to make. Hey, and you tell it, I'm a piece of shit. And it's like, okay, now here's a spirit I've created to demonstrate to myself whether or not it is the case that I'm a piece of shit. Maybe I've created a spirit that manipulates others to, or the world around me, to give me experiences that would validate whether this be yes or no, true or false, right? Yes, so that I might know myself. I'm a loser. Okay, well, here's a game. Did you win? Well, then you can know that you're not a loser. You are equally a winner, at least in some capacity, to this concept of loser. And so, because you participate in behavior, imaginings, etc., that you assume, often because other people told you, are a necessity. You assume they're conditions that are required for the persistence of your existence, life. You assume that you feed by default. You assume that you need to eat X amount of calories every day. And so when it comes time for this spirit to get fed by feeding yourself, right, of eating, you go and eat. You keep the size of the spirit large. And so this thing is a spirit that demands your attention. And because you fed so much to this spirit, it's so big, should you not eat, it might pull on you and get you to try to feed it again. No, I'm hungry. That is to determine whether or not this spirit is going to dissipate. You feed this huge thing more and more and more and more. Just like if you keep eating more and more calories while not exercising your spirits, then you gain weight. And it takes more and more and more effort, perhaps time, energy, to lose that weight. You are massive, you might say, in terms of your spirit. Okay? And what happens is you become desensitized through constant bombardment of spirits nagging at you to the individual subtle realities of the spirit. Okay? You are constantly feeding the spirit of shit-talking yourself. It is very difficult to find that stillness, the quiet, because you're constantly feeding this. It's a loud voice. And as soon as you start being quiet, it's like, hey, you're stupid. Hey, you're... And it's pulling you to interact with it. You've externalized this thing, this voice in your head, right? Or you've assumed it to be part of like a fundamental assumption, of course, that it's a necessity for your continuing, etc., etc. And you then feed the thing. And because that is the case with most of the things that humans do, they have this massive spirit, and they're always pulling, hey, feed me, hey, go sleep, hey, do this, go to work, hey, you're afraid of this, hey, this person, hey, blah, 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 blah. And if you act in renunciation, this is not me. That's a spirit, blah, blah, blah. I don't want this part. Then this doesn't actually resolve ever. You've blinded yourself to it. I'm not a thief. And so a behavior that you might be engaging in might be your blind spot. Having denied it, having not chosen not to see it, I couldn't possibly be a bad person. Well, then this spirit will persist, and this will motivate you, compel you often to act in ways in which you are oblivious to because you've chosen to be unawares of it. And so it's feeding itself constantly, and you don't question it. And often it is the case that you end up being the thing that you deny. Because should that spirit be building, you would be oblivious to it, and you would be acting in those ways and not being aware that you are doing so. Maybe you've justified it how it's something else, but really, I'm telling the truth. When really you're lying, you're going to be feeding this one, not this. This will not exist. But this is what you believe it is when it's really this. You are confused. Okay? So because you have so much going on in your life, you're constantly doing, thinking, working, all these things. What happens is that you develop a gross body, a gross spiritual body. That is, it's fucking gross. It's huge. It's big. It is undifferentiated, undefined. It's just a bunch of crap you've accumulated, right? You're here in the center, and you've accumulated all this stuff. Your thoughts over here. You got to go to work. This is your fear of tomorrow. This is all these things. It's gross. There's no refinement here, okay? And so this is part of the alchemical process, which is kind of why I'm mentioning it. It's also useful for your understanding of existence. So because you have not defined this core, right? You haven't reduced this down to its core components. You just have this swirling mass, right? And so you are not able to perceive the subtle body, having so much trying to get your attention, okay? And you understand that the creation of a spirit through your action, direct input, creates a spirit. Perhaps you're breathing life into something that you value, having observed it or witnessed it or experienced it external to you. Maybe somebody else provided it to you, and you can try to incorporate it into your existence. Or it is that something you've been doing. But whatever the case is, when you feed a spirit, you create it. When you then choose to stop feeding it, right, the spirit will do a thing in which it is either trying to come back home. It wants to be let back in, accepted, reintegrated, right? So that it can it can be dissipated. It's not hot or cold. It's neutral. It just cancels out. So it's trying to move in, and you won't let it because you've separated yourself from it. Or it is the case that because you've created a spirit and you've wanted it to be externalized in some capacity, you've created this thing out here that you're just, it does this thing that it checks whether or not it's still needed. The mystics check. Hey, we called you ugly yesterday. Are we good? And it does this by polling the situation for you to make another choice. The voice comes up. You're looking ugly today. Are you going to go out? Uh-oh. If I don't want to continue living this way, I need to say, no, I'm good. Thank you though. I'm going to change it up to beautiful. See how that works. And you reintegrate the spirit. Allow it to come home. Because you've created it to call you ugly. Because that's the game you want to play. If you want to dissipate this spirit, should you stop calling yourself actively ugly in the mirror, a voice might come into your head. It's pulling you to choose whether or not you're going to do this again, or if you're committed to not doing that. If you then just start calling yourself ugly again, well, it's a good thing it stuck around to remind you. You keep feeding it. But if you don't want to be feeding that anymore, you need to choose something else. Or not make a choice, just not attach. Either way, when you participate in this, you're reinforcing it, you're feeding it. Okay? Very important, you might imagine. And so, most people are being constantly bombarded. You're hungry, you gotta go to the bathroom, you gotta go to sleep, you're tired, you're fatigued, you're upset, you're sad, you're nervous, you're anxious, but those things are constantly just hello, ringing your doorbell. And so you can't tell the difference between one spirit and another. You're inundated with a deluge of constant bombardment from different spirits that are discrete, individual, and you are confused. And your experience becomes that which you consider to be physical, which is not separate from the spiritual. And often if this gets too big, one thing in particular is standing out, it will then do the next thing to get your attention. It's not communicating. It's like, hey, do you want, hey, listen, this thing you keep feeding, do you want this? Hello, can I resolve? Are you going to pay attention to me? No. You keep running from something. Hey, let me back in. And if you continue to do this, it becomes a physical ailment in your body generally. Or it can manifest, you might say, externally in a way which you brought it to yourself. You keep saying you're looking for love, but you keep denying the fact that you experienced it with your last partner because you've projected something onto them. But then you keep speaking into existence, and it keeps coming. A person shows up, and they give you the love which you've projected outwardly to receive, but that's you pulling your own delusion to yourself. And then you get hurt again, and you say, why do I keep, hooking up with shitty men? Well, because that's what you think love is. That's what you keep putting into life. That's what you keep feeding. And that's what keeps coming back to show you. And you think it's somehow not your fault. That it's their fault. But their fault, who's they? This thing you pulled yourself. You were looking for something, you seek and find. This person shows up. That is the thing that you were looking for. They're called. Hello, hello, anybody out there? Yeah, I'm here. And then you blame them for the thing that you wanted. That is the case. And it's the process of healing to understand that perhaps you don't know what this is. This thing is maybe a delusion, and that's fine for you to explore if you can see the lesson when it comes to you and it's not what you thought it was. Oh shit, maybe I don't understand what it is. Maybe my ideations of what love is what this is. And I think that I'm somehow separate and removed from it, and it's their fault. Who? You call for, a double cheeseburger, and a double cheeseburger arrives, and you throw it on the ground and say, this is not it. This is gross. Well, actually, it is a double cheeseburger. And because you meant pancakes, but we're calling it double cheeseburger, it doesn't make a difference. And if you can see that it's the thing that you actually asked for, maybe then you'll start asking for something else, pancakes, instead of double cheeseburgers. Because you're likely to keep getting double cheeseburgers, so long as you think that that's what that is. But it isn't. You have the demonstration of it when somebody shows up with the thing that you asked for. So this is how life is working for you, and it might be in your detriment. This is how perhaps the spells are important, and maybe it is that you don't know always what is good for you, what it is that's healthy, you don't know. And if you are looking for something, it is either something that you've imagined, sets in terms and conditions for love. Unconditional love is the love that you are receiving, the experience of, without the conditions that you foist upon it because you want it to be a type of way. If you want to experience love, you must remove the conditions of love that you have built in your mind about what it looks like so that you may receive it genuinely, what the thing is, and then maybe you can make a choice on whether or not you want it. But if you think you know what it is, then how can you say for sure that you have ever experienced it? If you think it's what you saw in Disney movies, if you think it's what you saw, what your parents did, if you think it's that is not what it is. And you are unlikely to ever receive this if these are the conditions for you to receive something and it not to do with those. If love is not to do with these things that you've invented, it's something else, you're never going to receive it so long as you have filters around what it can be. This is to have unconditional love, not to allow people to do whatever the fuck they want to you. That's not unconditional love. It's demonstrated by the fact that you aren't loving yourself by allowing people to walk all over you. You don't have love for yourself, so you don't have unconditional love for yourself, and therefore you don't have unconditional love. Dying for people, sacrificing yourself isn't unconditional love because it demonstrates you don't have a care for your own experience. Or allowing your friend to go hang himself is demonstrating that you don't care about them as much as you care about other people. The greater good is not unconditional love. That is sickness. Okay? Unconditional love in the terms of experience, should you be receiving it and genuinely, whatever love is, right, the spirit, but we'll use the common understanding in this moment. Unconditional love in terms of your existence necessitates conditions first, right? I must set boundaries for the way that I'm treated so that I can treat you the way that I value you highly. I might say that I love you because you bring value, so much value to my life. How do I demonstrate that? Well, I have to demonstrate it, and then I have to demonstrate it in the way that you ask me to. Because if I love you, to demonstrate it is for your benefit. I want you to feel a thing based on my appreciation of you. And so if you say, I don't like to be called a certain word, then to demonstrate that, I needs must follow these rules to do so. If you don't, I don't like being called Greg, and you keep calling me Greg, you demonstrate you don't love me. Because it doesn't make me feel very good when you call me Greg. I've asked you. And so if you keep calling me Greg, you don't love me. You love what you get from me. You love having me around, even though I don't get anything out of it. So I will leave. And the reason why you don't have this understanding is because people think that unconditional love means you won't leave, right? That's not what it means. And so when you have unconditional love, the deluded kind, and you say, I love you, right? and somebody's treating you, somebody says they love you and they treat you badly, you stay because you don't have love for this person to make the boundaries, for fear that they will retract their love. But they never loved you anyway. If they loved you, when you say, don't call me Greg, then they will demonstrate their love by not calling you Greg, so that you can feel the feeling that reinforces what they have communicated. It needs must have conditions. When somebody is always willing to follow the guidelines that you set forth as a necessity, as the action that love is, that results in you feeling seen, appreciated, heard, valued, respected, etc. Who cares about these things because they care about you, these conditions, then when you have evidence that this is the dynamic, then your love can be unconditional, because you might then love somebody and want to do all these things for them to meet all these conditions and expect no return. There aren't conditions for your giving them what they've asked for, because you are trying to demonstrate to them that they have value to you already. Okay? It is not something that can be bought. You cannot buy love. Either I value your existence and your proximity to me. Maybe you don't reciprocate. Maybe I'm like, you're the most beautiful person I've ever seen, and just looking at you makes my life better every day. You might not reciprocate that. It does not mean that you cannot benefit from my appreciation of you. Perhaps it is the case that you being in my existence increases the value of my existence. Even if you never make out with me, I never said that was, I'm telling you that you make life better by just existing. You're hot. Even if something as trivial as that. If I want to demonstrate to you how much I value your existence, you can set conditions, which I am not obligated to fulfill. But if I want you to actually understand how much I appreciate you, I might meet these conditions so that you will stay around me. Particularly as a baseline, what conditions needs must be filled for you to stay present at all. But if the ones above and beyond, you might set because, hey, I know you don't have to do any of this, but can you just call me this nickname or whatever? Well, sure. If it's not too much for me, based on my own conditions, what is it worth having you around to call you something else? Maybe you change your pronouns. Is it worth to keep you around to just respect your choice of pronouns? Well, if I want to keep you around, I might do so. Maybe then you will value me and my ability to respect you. You'll feel respected. And so you'll stay around. But should I be like, nah, I'm going to call you whatever I want? Then you can leave, because you aren't owing this person anybody. It's not a contract. Okay? So unconditional love is not to do with just fucking dumping because modernly people think that their feeling love in their own bodies is evidence of their behavior towards other people. Karma is action, not what it is that you think it is or feel it is, that's subjective to you. Okay? So unconditional love is the love that you receive when asking for it without condition for what you expect it to be. Very important. Understand? So, because you have conditions for many of these things about what it is that is your spirit, perhaps, what it is that you think is paradise, all these conditions, you create barriers to things that you have generated, perhaps, and they try to return. You sent them out to do a work, they try to do as they're instructed, and you say, no, darkness, evil. These scary demons, they are yours, trying to do the thing that you created them for. Because when you're like, the darkness, the evil, the bad, and they showed up because you created them, fucking idiot. And so they're doing the thing that you created them to do. And when they hurt you or scare you, and you point to them and say, fuck you. Oh, well, that's just a shitty thing to do to the thing that you created, your children, who exist solely to do the thing that you created them to do, like a Meeseeks. If a Meeseeks that you smashed a button to create and ordered to scare you later should jump out and scare you, do you fucking pull a gun on it? Wasn't it what you asked for? Should you cause some punishment for this thing that you have created to do the thing that it is doing? Okay? Of course not. But that is what most people are doing. Which is why you can't escape the wheel of samsara, acting the way that everybody has told you to act. Modernly, people don't have it figured out. Fucking nobody has it figured out, damn near. Why? Because they're doing the same thing that they've always done, which is run from themselves. Around in a circle, round and round and round, pointing fingers to the person in front of them. Your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault. But it comes back around to point right in your back. Does it not? Consider the phrase or the saying, an eye for an eye. An eye for an eye. Does what? Leaves the whole world blind? Oops, that's fucked up. That's the saying, right? Damn, I can't spell today. An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. Let's just go back to this part. Just use your logic, use your fucking brain, use your spirit of intellect to consider how many eyes do you have in your head right now? Maybe the answer isn't the same for everybody, but how many do you have generally? On average, how many eyes do humans have? Is it 2 eyes? So if it's an eye for an eye, how are we all blind? Because an eye for an eye. They're both your fucking eyes, clearly. If it was 2 eyes and 2 people, if I took 1 eye and you lost one, then we still both have 1 eye, wouldn't we? And we both these kings still. But the whole world being blind is because you're poking out people's eyes and you're only poking out your own. Mirrors. Fuck you. Fuck you. Echo. Echo. You suck. You suck. Ding bong. You understand? So that is why, in the world of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Because you might poke out my eye. If I resist the urge to poke out yours, I retain my 1 eye. Because I won't be giving it up to poke you in yours, blinding us both. I'm the king because you have poked my eyeball out, which has poked one of your eyeballs out. I keep my eye. For your benefit, for my own benefit. But my actions demonstrate my position. You poke my eye out first. I accept that it will blind us both if I were to poke your eye out. I accept that you and I are connected if I poke at you. And so I don't, because it doesn't benefit me to poke out eyes. Otherwise, I might end up blind. And so then I accept your behavior. I can understand why you're doing it. Perhaps, right? I feel compelled maybe to do it, but I don't. I resist the urge. This is how putting yourself in other people's shoes, accepting that you are them. Perhaps it's not your life now. Maybe in your next life, you're them. Maybe you want to retaliate. But if you consider that that's you next life, do you poke out their eye because they poked you? Why would you be doing what you're doing? Maybe because you're ignorant. You don't know any better. Forget that they don't know what to do. You don't know any better. You don't see how we're connected, etc., etc., etc. You put yourself in their shoes and you think from the perspective that that's you next life. Why am I doing this to me? Maybe I was hurt. Maybe I'm sick. Maybe I need help. Maybe I need an exam, etc., etc., etc. If I can do that, then why would I poke their eye out? It wouldn't help me any capacity to be better if I got my eye poked out. Right? Even if I was poking other people's eyes out. I don't want to do that because I want to be able to figure it out. Maybe they're going to go on in life and they'll figure it out eventually because people like me don't poke their eye out. So I don't poke their eye out, which demonstrates that I am king. Right? If I'm over here, and since I have not done the thing that they've done, in accepting that I could do the thing they're doing, I could be them, and accepting that that might be my next life, I act in the way that is beneficial to me, and therefore, most likely, almost always, beneficial to them. If I see that the behavior over here, and I say, well, this maybe they just can't they can't stop hurting people, and you consider for a second, why are they doing this? Well, maybe they're sick. Maybe they just don't know any better. They weren't taught correctly. But if I consider that maybe they can't help themselves and they just keep doing it, I ask myself the question, would I want to remain living to hurt people if I was out of control, or would I want somebody to stop me or to be put down? If I can say, yes, I would want to be put down so I wouldn't hurt more, then I can do that to this person. Because that would be the most compassionate, just, merciful thing to do. If I can truly see from their perspective, this person is like an animal. They can't stop. They're sick. There's no help. They're too wounded. They're just biting everything. I might take them to the vet to put them down. Not because I'm angry at them. Not because I hate them. Not because they're fucking the bad guy and the good guy. But because if I was a rabid dog and I couldn't stop biting people, maybe I don't want to. Maybe that my life is hell. And the best thing anybody could do would be to fucking take me out. Otherwise, I'll continue to cause harm. I will easily be able to do that. Either way, it is this position's responsibility to be a just and fair judge, to pass judgment, to be the king, to make decisions for the people. Judge not lest you be judged. Judge not unless you want, or lest you be judged. If I can judge that I would not want to remain alive, should this be my condition, I may bring the resolution to this. That no others likely are able to do, perhaps. They're coming up with reasons, excuses, etc. They're confused as to what we should do here. It's very clear. I consider it from this perspective and I say, all right, I've come. What in my experience has led to my development? What are the conditions that might have led in their life to this position? What might be their position whatsoever? If I really contemplate this, then I might come to a just determination on what I should do in terms of them. Okay? This is happening all day, every day. This is the big secret that people seem to be ignorant of or unawares of. To escape the karmic wheel, to escape your karma, you need to stop projecting onto others in terms of fault. Because the mystery then is when you finally accept that you are the other person, when you finally accept that you are capable of doing anything that they are, and to be just and fair, and to be compassionate, and to make choices based on your choices for your own life, should you have to live again. Right? Only when you accept that you are the other, that you are them, do you liberate yourself from them. Because when you accept that you're them, you give them agency. You give them agency by saying, well, I'm an agent. I'm a person with agency who's making choices. Yes, no, about hurting. Right? If my default is yes, because I'm the good guy, then their default then is no, is it not? If I say yes and they're not me, then they can only say no. I have taken the benefit of this high road and I said they're bad. I'm good and they're bad. That is creating the spirit that necessitates that you be king and they be below you. They are you. They are. When you put yourself in their position and you consider that they are you, and you ask yourself why it is that you are making this choice, you have then taken this off the table. You say, I say yes, they say no. Why would I be saying no? I can imagine a situation in which I was raised or something, a condition in which I would say no too. I am able to do both. And because I'm able to do both, given their life, I then dissolve the bond between us. Because I give them agency to then also change, say yes or no, and or I liberate them from the suffering of being only one thing, incapable in the way that I might be incapable should I be in their position. I am given authority over them to kill, to do what I please, because if they can only say no or yes, they're stuck, right? They don't have choice. They don't have agency. So I put myself in their shoes. I say, why would I be making these decisions? Well, either it's this, that, or the other thing. So then how might I resolve this issue so that I can return this to them? Should I not be able to do so because perhaps they're like an animal and they can't help themselves? And I might say, just end it. That's what I would want to be, instead of just constantly set up to be the bad guy hurting people. Please, I'd just rather not exist. Kill me. Same goes with if you meet Buddha on the path. Kill him, right? They have overbearing compassion. Do they not? The Buddha? Overbearing compassion. Do you know what that means? If you see Buddha on the road, overbearing compassion, kill him. Because he can only say this to every single person, even if they can only say no, this. If you see Buddha on the road, kill him. This is overbearing compassion. To be compassionate for the suffering of others. Sometimes that means saying, for their own sake, walking away. To liberate yourself sometimes is what is necessary. But overbearing compassion can be difficult. So that's why that saying goes that way. If I see you and you're Buddha, right? If I'm not Buddha and you're Buddha, kill him. Kill him, because he can't kill you. He's peaceful, overbearing compassion. And if you see him on the road, kill him. Free him from the chains that you bound them in. The vessel you trapped the jinn in. Kill him. Because to externalize it is to not see it in yourself. To put the qualities external to you. You've made them a slave, a puppet. They are you. They are the you that you aspire to be while you judge yourself. And they can only act in service to you because they're trying to show you that you are this. If you see them, slay them one way or other. Kill them with kindness, become the Buddha. To reintegrate it, right? They are not separate from you. To see them on the path is to say that they are different and distinct. Are you not a child of Buddha-like nature? So why do you see that Buddha out there on the street? They exist in you, or do they not? And maybe in all life, depending on the sort of spiritual understanding. So that is part of this. You project outwardly. That is why I say often, I am not that which I think I am. I am that which you think I am. My body, my form that you see, contains a subtle spirit perhaps. I wear masks like a actor or a jester or fool. I play roles. Am I any one of these? No. Yes. Depends. It depends on what you need. You want to see the devil. And so, the devil I am. Should you want to see beauty? Beauty you will see. A mirror. Okay? Anything that I possess, do you not also have the potential to possess? If you see me as an equal, of course you do. If you see me as a reflection of you, then of course you do. As a mirror, then your life is awesome. Your life's awesome. You're cool. You're cool. Isn't that the way we interact with people? If you think that I'm awesome, and you think you like having me around, maybe I like having you around. You don't expect anything from me. I don't expect anything from you. Our relationship is mutual. Echo, as opposed to narcissist. Echo, echo. Hi, hi. I love you. I love you. You're my best friend. You're my best friend. This is what is referred to. This is, am I you? No. I'm just the mirror. Is your mirror reflection, the reflection in your mirror, the same as you? Of course not. Your right hand is their left hand. They are just mirrors of each other. And when you project, you suck. You suck. If I've reached this position of ascended master or whatever, I don't look at the demon and say, fuck you. I am the demon. To be in this position, right? To be, why am I externalizing these things? I understand that the way that I behave, right? And the way that I'm treated is for one of a couple purposes. If we're both in this position, if I'm looking in the mirror, and I assume that we're standing next to each other, right? Based on the mirror. I look over there and I say, this is different. I can see myself in this reflection, but it's different, right? And they can do the same. Maybe we could be best friends, right? We are a syzygy, or we are, it's in our interest. I go left, they go right, I'm hot, they're cold. And the extremes are the same. And so we go through this path of divergence and coming back. I go left, whoop, we're extremes, and then the other side is going right, right? Whoop. And when it gets sucky for one, it gets sucky for the other. And when you meet the middle, you'll have the story to tell, and their story will be much the same as yours. Being two halves of a whole. I went left, oh, yeah, it got really hard out there. But generally speaking, in my experience, one person will go one way, And then when you meet them at the crossroad, you're kind of bound, right? Because they've gone too far. They're stuck. When they come back, they tell you every single way in which they cannot behave in the ways that would be healing to them or to you. If they want to go be light and love and be only good, they force you to be the devil. And when you come back to center, you say, hey, can we just hold hands and hugs? No, because people hurt my feelings. No, because you might be of this. No, because I know that. I'm aware of that because you went this way and I was the other thing. I was hurt. I was beat. And I'm still choosing to say, hey, I want a hug. No, you might hurt me. Well, I'm getting hurt right now because you won't accept the fact that we are the same. You have to be above. You push me below. But Judas hung from a tree and Jesus also hung from a tree. They were the same. If you're both going to end up hung, who cares? Well, I was perceived as a good guy. Well, I was perceived as a bad guy. Who gives a fuck? This relationship is more important than what other people perceive. Is it not? So, even if you went left and I went right, hey man, I'm going to go fucking do this sketchy shit. Be a criminal. Fuck the law. Alright, well I like the law. I'm going to hang out over here. I'm going to go maybe develop some more. Okay, fine. When you come back, you better not have a fucking opinion about this. Because I can speak for myself. Should you just listen to my voice. And it might sound like an echo to you. But that doesn't mean that I don't have my own voice. That I'm not speaking honestly. Because you will be fully apprised of it. And I will not be that which I think I am. In any capacity. I will only ever be what you think I am. I am what I say I am. And I imagine that you are as well. And I have to demonstrate because you can't predict that which I am. Just like you can't predict that which you are. You have to find out. You seek and you find. You don't know yourself until you are in the experience to demonstrate whether or not you are the thing. Yes? When you limit me, you limit yourself. You say that you can only be this way. Well, that's not, I'm more than that. We could be friends. We could be in love. We could have the perfect relationship. But you project that I'm going to hurt you. And so you've cut this off. You are going to hurt me right now. When I'm accepting, I want to give you my, I want to love. And you deny it. You are not doing anything to do with my feelings about you. Only your acceptance, willingness to receive that which will reinforce my statement. You cut off your potential for that in that process. Anyway, kind of went on a divergence here. A little bit of a digression. But these are all connected, right? So the spirit, going back to the beginning of this, the reason why you might have difficulty in experiencing physically the spirit, you're inundated with this huge, gross spirit. It needs to be burnt, put through the wringer, so to speak, the alchemical furnace, to be reduced down into its essence, the essence of you, perhaps. You're unlikely to be able to do this if you cannot accept the parts of you that you've externalized back into yourself and come to terms with them, to accept your whole spirit, the Holy Spirit, your whole spirit, all the parts that make you, and then to make choices based on your preference, not based on whether or not it's good or bad or you hate it, or only based on what it is that you wish to retain from the garden, and to let the things that you don't want to have go. I might hold many spirits as the alchemist. I pick up all these spirits. I understand that there's the Star Wars, the Star Trek, there's all these different experiences people have, they want to have perhaps. I don't have an opinion about whether or not they want to have it. It's for them to choose. They might think the aliens are external to them. Whatever. Maybe they go through a little bit more experience to understand that they aren't. But if you want to go play Star Wars or Star Trek, why should I not allow you to do so? And while you've been running from your spirits or thinking they're separate, somebody's going to pick them up and hold them so that you can go do Star Wars. And when you go this direction, I might hand them off because I don't prefer to do Star Wars right now. I can understand how it might be fun, but you want to do it. I send it with the individual who will be a watcher for you. You go play Star Wars. I want to do magic and fairies. Okay? I have a preference not based on my judgment of whether or not you want to do this. My preference is this, only because this is what I preferred most in the garden. This is what I love the most. This is fine. I like Star Trek and Star Wars. Those are fun, but I don't want to really do those. They're too similar to me, to my lived experience. for me to really want to go do that some more. Maybe it would be very beneficial to you. Maybe you come from a different direction, and maybe you just want to, this is really important for you. Maybe you were a fairy for last life and you're like, fuck, I want to be a alien. So that is the dispensation. I hand out the spirits, I hold them, and until I can pass them off. I raise wizards, other kings, princes, to go be leaders, watchers, to watch over. It's a pantheon. I assign it. You go bye-bye. I didn't create all the spirits of the world. People broadly did. But we are all sharing a space, and we all share this human vessel. That's the commonality between us. We have bodies. It's the same sort of. We have the same. All men are created equal. It says, right? Like, I have this body. There is no difference between this body and any other body, right? They each contain all that's necessary to contain the spirit of humanity, man and woman. Because womb means basically like a pocket, like a space. We have lots of wombs. Your mouth is a womb. You have lots of wombs. So I can experience the same things, and I have. Right? Just like women may experience the same things. So there's not a difference. If I can embody the spirits of mankind, all of them, everybody can. Because we have the same thing. We have an awareness. We have some spiritual heritage, perhaps, a lineage. We have a body. We have a mind, and these things are all comparative. They're just different variations. And because that is the case, I can embody all the spirits of mankind, but not want to choose to have some of them in perpetuity. I can hold Star Wars because I can understand loving Star Wars. I might not love it as much as magic, but I can understand why somebody might. I can understand everybody's fear and hold it all while not being afraid of everything. I just hold it. I accept it as a part of humanity, and I can imagine why I've had my own experiences that cause fear. I'm not separate, different than you. I'm not better. We are in a position where we are both capable of being all that we are. Very few people choose to do this. That is the only problem. As the alchemist, it is sort of my job to be able to hold it all. Why? Because I'm trying to purify vessels and then to basically clean up the mess and sort things out and then hand out balanced spirits to individuals going different directions. It's easier for one to do that than it is for fucking everybody doing it. I could take the planets one by one. I assess which spirits go where, etc., etc. Okay, and then somebody shows up and they want to be a magician, or they're clearly most developed, or they're most receptive of the information or spirits I might give them. You want to do the fucking Anunnaki Star Wars thing? All right, here they go. The you. Right? I see that, and I hand them off. First, I clear the spiritual vessels. Those are the planets, corporeal. Right? Purify them, and I put the spirits that are good, balanced, healthy, back together. Beep, 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 beep. Some don't go together because things that people breathe life into. The demons and the angels, they're in conflict because that's what people said about them for so long. I don't put them together. Is one good and one bad? No, of course not. But there's a narrative being told. I put the demons in one place and the angels go a different place because there's conflict. So maybe I put the demons with the Valkyries because they're basically the same, right? But they're not. Valkyries, mirrors. These can go with these, they can go with these, right? Angels can go with maybe some other, like comparable. Oh, demons are devas, right? Devas are daemons, or can refer to computer stuff, machines. It can refer to, they maybe go together with these better than demons, as people understand them. These monsters, little critters. Maybe they go with Valkyries a little bit better. They're more like ferocious warriors, probably better suited for them. Based on the life that people breathed into these ideas, right? These ones they don't fight, but they are balanced in that these are mirrors maybe of each other, right? They share similarities, but different. So that's a lot of the alchemy, is to take things and separate them into different parts, all different categories, and then find the things that unite them. Solve, coagulate, to make one thing, one biome, one world, in which they are in harmony, they are balanced, they are an ecosystem. And so things get built up. You're a gross spirits about what you assume about things. Okay, that's what you have. You're trying to reduce. Okay, you might not be aware of this. You might have this huge. It's hard to define. You can't tell the subtleties in these different spirits because you have this huge thing that you keep feeding, right? That are a necessity for you to feed, so they stay in existence. And if you should die, this is why you're responsible for this. And so you usually come back to resolve this. It's your karma. You build this huge thing, and these need a vessel. Spirits need a vessel, or they fall and they disappear. Well, if you are this big thing, then if this goes, you better be born into somebody, into another vessel, unless this has reached a stability, because these things are things that you're like, I need this to happen, I need this to happen, this needs to play out, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, and it needs to resolve. Your karma needs to be, because that's what you've created for. I need to see this, I need to see this. It will continue to compel you to life until you can surrender, let it go, and then stop. It's the inaction. Stop making more of this to have to come to fruition. Okay, you can continue to do so, but what are you creating for yourself? That's the important part. Okay. So, because of this huge spirit like this, your senses have been bombarded. It's hard to differentiate between one spirit and another. You cannot perform the solution. You cannot solve, because this is too gross. It hasn't been reduced yet. You haven't started to distill it into its various, in the alembic, you have your stuff this is the gross, and you're heating it, and it starts to separate. The most fiery stuff goes to the top, right? Evaporates quickly. The least fiery evaporates last, or not at all. Stay down there. I'm separating out stratification, graduated cylinder, graduation. You undergraduate, and then you graduate, right? And then you become the doctorate if you're like me. You're a fucking wizard. Super source supreme. So you need to go through these stages. And it is difficult, because you need to address these things often one at a time. You experience these huge things. Oftentimes people will call spirits in. They are a part of you. And when you reintegrate them, you are less reactive to fear when you have faced it. Let it come back. Understand that you're fearful. Have a different relationship with it. Now the fear moved back into you, and it's a part that you can see and recognize because you haven't blinded yourself to it. And then the next one, maybe it's your anger. All the things you'll go through, step by step. Each time you are separating out, solve portions of your spirit. You might have an experience magically, or that's particularly as this progresses, right? You start adding fire. You might then be able to start distinguish between this mass you have here into its various components. Solve this spirit first. Very light fire. If you ask people in my temple, our early experiences were those of very pleasant, good, you might say, awesome experiences. And it felt like at this point that we were lured into a position where we're just getting our ass beat now. Because that was the thing with the most fire in it at first, you might say. It went to the top. And then we go to the next one. We're cooking out on and on. The heaviest, densest down here. If I can then go through this process, I'm increasing the difficulty. The temperature is going up as I descend through the alchemical pillar here. As it kind of expands, it cools down up here and then condenses. So it's cooler up here and hotter down here where I have the fire, yes? I go up, down, and I'm just making and then I'm categorizing sort of the experiences. As I endure them, this was like this. This was like this. This was like this. This was like, I can recognize, having witnessed, experienced these things, I can recognize them should they come back around. When I reached nirvana, I recognize where it is by the experience. When I walked into the gates of heaven, I recognize what it is by that experience. It was brief. I can recognize. When I was in the pit, the worst, it was actually, I can recognize. I can see where these are here. That way I can determine which ones are which. So that way, when I've completed the work, all of the stuff in the crucible has been transmuted. It's all separate. I solve, then I unify them. Solve et coagula. What are the one thing that they all have in common? Because that thing is not these initial elements. It is the quintessence. Yeah? What is the quintessence of everything that exists on the planet? And what is the prima materia? What if all of these things went in and they were separate, different elements, right? And I'm separating them out. Fire, water, in these components, right? The very bottom maybe is earth, and up here is the fire. I've separated them all out, and now I've solved. It's all mixed together. I've seen them all, each individual part. I determined what they all have in common. Maybe these were the 4 initial conditions, the 4 initial gods, you might say, or whatever. But it is irrelevant because we have all the mixing pot here. That's like gross, right? This is also you. You have this gross spirit, and you are to reduce it. How do you do that? Well, you have to solve. You have to split it up into all these different parts of what it is. What is your spirit? You're this, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this, this, you're this. And sometimes you have the experience like, what is love? Am I love? You have the experience of it, and then you're like, okay, this is part of it. This. You keep asking questions. You get more and more and more and more. Yes? And then you've had them all split up. Now, what is the one feature that binds them all? Right? When you reduce this down, all this, when you separate it all out, and you're at the very bottom, then you've created this. At the very bottom is what you're left with. This is a stone that burns without burning. The Philosopher's Stone. When you've completed the operation, you have the Philosopher's Stone. I won't describe that directly here, how it is the case, but and that's why Jesus, whatever, that's not it. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is not this pentagrammaton. He is the he's not the tetragrammaton. He's the pentagrammaton. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 4 things make this thing. Albedo, Negrito, Citrine, Rubido, Philosopher's Stone. 4 things. Seasons. First season, second season. Spring, summer, fall, winter. A year. The whole thing. There are differences between these stages. From here to here. From here to here. From here to here. From here to here. Is there not? What if these might be the seasons and they are a process that results in fruit? Winter, the leaves die back, it's rest, so on. And then spring, fertile flowers grow, and then summer, more rain and grows and the sunlight. And then I harvest in fall, right? These things are dying back, and I get the good fruit. This process. It's honey. The bees go out, right? They pollinate the honey. They go to the flowers and they drink the nectar. And then the bees come back and they bark the nectar up, right, into the hive. And in that process, I create the flowers get pollinated and they produce seeds that lead to more flowers, right? And then depending on the rest period, how much I've stocked up of the honey, I will likely not have that many bees to need to be born. I will have extra honey. This is the extra honey, right? If I have more bees, then I'll have more flowers, and I will be able to get more honey, more people who can eat the excess honey. You and I. Let's say that I am trying to build a sustainable ecosystem. The honey is a necessity. It takes something that benefits me in every portion and produces something that benefits me that I can take as an extra. The product is free, extra bonus. Because there can always be more beautiful flowers, right? And because there can always be more bees that are pollinating and having a great life, doing what they love, going flower to flower, drinking all the sugar water and then barfing it up because they're so excited. They can continuously do that, right? And if the year is good to them, they aren't dying off because people are abusing them, there's flowers being cut down, then the bees can not utilize all that honey, right? They don't need the honey. The honey is there for food as a reserve. It's there for their young. What if they don't have? They don't die every year. Bees have longer lifespans than people maybe assume. So if the bees don't die back, there's no mites there, there's no infestation, no parasites, then the bees can continue to produce honey. And that year, you can take that honey and you can do what? You can eat it. And what did you do? Not a damn thing, but appreciate the things that are around you that are facilitating your existence. You can eat the honey. And maybe the honey is the best stuff. It's gold. It's sugar. It's pure energy in a fucking liquid form. That's what honey is. It's the highest value fucking thing you can find in nature. It's pure what you need to exist. That's why people, the Brahmas, they can live off of a glass of milk, which maybe contains the fat, and honey. Brahmas do that to this day. They go their whole, they sit in meditation. They don't eat anything, but maybe a little bit of honey and some milk. Okay? I tell people I lived off for like 2 years straight off candy. I currently don't eat very much, very little. And when I do eat, generally it's things like yogurt, or it's something that's very sugary, like cocoa, or that's what I eat. The world has told you that they are bad for you. That's a delusion. Why would they exist in nature? Why would fruit be sweet if it was bad for you? It is the most high value resource in the animal kingdom, bar none. Fruit is the foundation for life in many capacities. To have birds whatsoever, generally there is a fruit tree associated with those birds. They are connected. They're one and one. You cannot have those birds and the vast, life that birds sort of inhabit, right? The swath of life, without those fruit trees. And the thing is, the fruit can grow every year. And what does the fruit tree need to produce the fruit? It produces something. It needs the things that the birds are providing, right? By eating the fruit. It needs a thing that is recycled constantly, just by, it doesn't ever have to die. The fruit tree never, ever has to die. And the birds can eat their fill of the fruit. And the tree doesn't actually, it doesn't hurt the tree at all. Nothing dies. And so if I create a system by which I have an ecosystem, so to speak, where nothing dies, and I can expand, and by expanding, I can just create more trees, and they expand, and the birds expand, then those things are a lockstep. Are they not? And I don't have to fucking do anything except for allow what it is that I've set up to continue the alchemy. I don't need to exploit the trees. I don't need to exploit the birds. I only need to live in balance and harmony with what I have available, what is mine to take as excess, and to understand when I'm causing damage, and to maybe perhaps offset this by planting more trees, which facilitates more birds, right? And caring for them. If I want more people, if I want to have a kid, I better plant another fucking tree. And if I don't, I can expect there to be a deficit, and eventually I will be harming the birds or the tree, and then it will lead to where we are today. The hunger, because you can't get your fill. The lies, delusions, because you don't see. Because you took too much. You only need that which you need. There are stories about among like the indigenous people, Toltec, Olmec, about how they weren't allowed back to Aesidhem'n. And what was the reason given to them? Because they ate too much fucking cocoa. They weren't ever going to make it back to Aesidhem'n. That is the case. You can't ever come back here. Why not? Because you won't stop eating the cocoa. You only need enough, but it's so sweet and you can't stop yourself. And so you eat more and more milk and honey, more and more and more. And now there's not enough. There's no more left. You drink and you've killing all the bees off. That's where we are right now. The bees are dying. You're monocropping. You want more and more people, more and more progress. And guess what? You created an unsustainable system and you're fucked. The population is going to be devastated. You cannot feed the people. You've created conditions in which it's not sustainable by exploiting the planet, the thing that you are. You exploited yourself. And now it cannot sustain life. And so it will die, and it will reclaim that which was gifted to you. The vessel, and so the alchemist returns. Guess what? It's cooking time. And I will transmute as much of the spirit available. I step into the role as the archetypical man, Adam Kedman. Why? Because I need to be able to embody all the spirits to do the alchemy. And I'm just sorting out the trash, the wheat from the chaff, right? There are good spirits. They just need to be balanced. But they've been polluted often by the projections of others, the lies, the illusions, right? Of people and that can be very beneficial. We got Star Trek out of it. We got Star Wars. Great. But it is not the reality that underpins things, that enables us to have a common language, for you to go do Star Trek, you need to understand how the fuck to get there. So you need to understand where you are. So it's a process in which it's a refinement of all the things that people created, what is it they really loved, and then a surrender of the things that they didn't like. About ourselves. I can accept it. Maybe many people can't. I accept the parts of reality that is in my shadow. My name is literally shadow. Beloved shade in the desert. Umbra cars. Umbra in arena cars. Okay? The shadow is not something that you're shitty about. It's always with you, lockstep. The thing about the shadow is that it's ill-defined. It's just the shape of you. It hides the details. There are lots of things in my shadow. I have a healthy relationship, a loving relationship with my shadow, because I put things about myself in the shadow that I just don't want to put that out in the world first foot, right? I want to be the person I want to be source supreme, not the person that's like a little creepy goblin that's like trying to touch your butt, not the person that's like, we'll go to war with you at a drop of a hat. And that's not what I'm sure. That is a part of me, not the piece of shit worm, not the liar, that's not what I'm putting. That is a part of me, as much as a part of anybody. But it's not the first thing that I'm putting out. I'm capable of it. It exists. I acknowledge it, respect it, but it remains in the shadow. You understand? I don't feed that spirit, and because I don't need to know more about whether or not I'm capable, whether or not I can accept it. I choose my virtues. I understand to possess a virtue of honesty, there is the potential that people will lie. I'm insulated from the fact that people lie to me because I feed the spirit of honesty, but I do not deny that I also entertain lying, that I'm also capable of it. It is just in the shadow, and should I need it, I will pull that motherfucker out, drop of the hat. They can coexist. What I put out to be demonstrated are the things that maybe are a higher ideal. They are not to do with the lower nature. I grew from that. The spirit that I was initially, the devil, right? It becomes something more. You don't get to define it. I learn through my demonstration who it is that I am. When I was given the options at this position to choose whether I was going to take advantage of somebody or to not, I consider my own experience and say, well, it sucked every time I got taken advantage of. And I just don't want to live in that world. I can understand why they're doing it. They benefit from it. I can see it. They get something out of me. They stole from me. They lied to me. But I don't want to live in that world. And so I choose not to take advantage of others. I be the change I wish to see. Not because I am unable to comprehend why they're doing it. Not because fuck them. But because nobody's ever going to be honest if I'm not honest. If not me, then who? If not now, then when? If not here, then where? If not you, God, then who can you expect else to do it? And so when people hit me, I say, nah, well, I could fucking destroy you, but I won't. Because it doesn't affect me enough to just obliterate you because you get pissed off at me. I don't fucking falcon punch children who come up and try to box me. A little 5-year-old come and punch me in the stomach. I don't fucking just pretty much put him in the dirt, right? I don't end him. Why? Because why? That's weird of me to... Does that mean I won't fucking wreck a 11-year-old? Nope. I've done it before. You think you can talk to me any way you want? You find out real quick that I'll fucking slap the fuck out of you. But I can practice restraint. I know my limits. And what is beneficial to them. What is beneficial for my own sake. And I can act with restraint. That takes strength. Right? I am capable of the most evil. Pure evil. I am capable of. I know by my own example, having been given choices, what might bring the evil out of me. And why I may bring it out. But I would prefer to do things a different way. I am capable. If you want to see real Armageddon, we can go there. I can create a sun fit in my fucking palm. Little pocket sun. We can have a real fireworks show, but none of you survive it. Promise. We could do it that way, or we can just, have flying buses and go solar punk. That is, either way, we're going to get to a place that is not stuck in this perpetual numbness. Easier way or hard way. I'm capable of either. I choose to do the way that I want to experience for my own benefit, in which magic is real and we get to fly around and do wizard shit. But should it become a necessity due to people wanting to. I'll gladly play the role of the devil. Right? If you're banking on Jesus to save you, I wouldn't. Because it's not it's not a choice being made independent of you. You're all choosing. Should you choose Star Trek? Maybe you'll see Star Trek. If you choose Star Wars, maybe that's what it is. If it's fairies, maybe you'll see that. If you choose fucking Armageddon, I've seen the world end so many different ways. I've experienced eternal hell many times. I've prepared, should I need to make the decision, to put you into a position. I'm not judging you because I've already been judged. I experienced it and endured it, and I came out better for it. If I need to use that thing that I earned in advance, there is no karma for me. I've already paid for it. I will pull it out. It's in my back pocket. And that could just be perhaps the thing that limits people from acting in a way that they're not prepared to fucking reap the consequences of, or it will be put to use. Okay? When I said I've experienced eternal hell, when I was young, 21, 22, over and over and over again. The worst experience deeply traumatized me for many years and was very difficult in overcoming on my magical journey. But I did endure it, and it was ultimately my benefit. It liberated me in the end. And if you are so concerned about others having power, about that you are causing issue, if I see that in you and you're looking to point fingers, you can't be free of it. I will show you. I will show you. And when you come out the other side of it, you will learn compassion, mercy. When you meet the devil. And you might think it's me now. I might take the role. But you will learn who it really is. And I'll hold it. What I inflict on you to liberate you from your own delusion. Because I already paid for it. It doesn't have easy way or hard way. Okay? So, these understandings are hopefully so that you can understand fundamentals of what's happening around you. Now, part of the whole the alchemical process is that many people were, they said they were taken up into heaven, right? That is to say, you were pulled out of the position where you could be breathing life into things constantly. Many people went to the matrix, so to speak. So imagine like there are these vessels, and they have the waters in which they can breathe things into, right? Well, there might be some dry land, an island, so to speak. A bunch of them. I'm tackling these vessels one at a time, as they exist in me, exist externally, corporally, etc. So I might cleanse one, take everything out and process it, clear it all out. Now this one's clean. And so I might be able to put some people in a matrix, little box. I'm like, all right, everybody go in the matrix and just watch the TV. Then I clean this one out, and then I might be able to move them back in, but this one still doesn't have anything in it. Right? Or perhaps I keep it in there and I clean up the next one, and I use this one to hold some stuff, and then I clean this one out. I'm using these to move things around, and I'm purifying these things one at a time. Okay? People talk about the moon being a trap. It's not. Yeah. Okay. Well, the things that we keep there are like the heavens and the hells. The dark and light. That's why the moon's black and white. Some things they say the stars, right? Things that we value, like integrity, truth, honest. And the only way we can discover some of these is if we have this spectrum, and we go through this process to figure out, does the juice end up worth the squeeze? Does being honest ever pay off? Or does it only come at a detriment? Right? Does it? Because in nature you might see that things are just doing what they do. There isn't a conflict about whether the thing is honest or whether you're patient. You just are opportune. You just naturally, it's gentle, but we don't have the experience of whether or not something long term will pay off in terms of interpersonal. Can I always expect you to be just your nature, or is there some virtue you might aspire to where you can tame your nature for a moment because it benefits you and others at a distant position? That's difficult, and that requires a separation in which we have these things, right? And we explore these. We go, okay, what's the limit? At what point do I say, nah, fuck you? Well, maybe this limit can grow and grow and grow, right? Just like today. Everything that people think they know is a lie. And everybody's been lying, in my awareness now. People are lying about everything because they're trying to manipulate themselves or lie themselves into an advantage. And my experience has been that every person that I've ever met who's told me this, that, or the other thing has lied to me. They have not been genuine or honest or they have not followed through. Right? And that's not necessarily anybody's to blame for that. But then I'm then forced to make a decision whether or not I'm honest to you about what it is that I've experienced, what it is that I understand, to share with you, even though it's never benefited me. When I tell people like, hey, you're hot, I want to make out, they only then call me a creep and a piece of shit. Even though that the people that have hurt them were liars, when I'm honest, I get painted this thing. And it doesn't benefit me usually. But I still tell people, because I'm not weird. I think it's weirder to lie to somebody about not being into them and then spring it on them. That's fucking weird. And I'm not a little bitch like that. I'll just tell you straight up, because it saved me the effort of fucking with you if you don't have any interest. No, I'm good. Okay then. Off I go. So the only reason I have the ability to demonstrate this virtue is if there are people who are lying. And so it can only go so far though, because once everybody's lying, well then the other option is to not lie. Right? And so if I just stop lying about everything, then I'm demonstrating, because perhaps there isn't a benefit for me in the current world, then I demonstrate every time that I'm honest that I value it. Right? Because perhaps it does have a benefit eventually. At the very bare minimum, it's not a world in which I want to live, where everybody's lying. Nobody has any understanding of, nobody can communicate. There's no trust, no loyalty. I don't want to live in that world. That's what started this journey for me. I just didn't want to live that. I just gave up. And so then I'm put to the grindstone. Demonstrate it. Do you really value honesty? You're going to fucking prove it. And so then I go through the spirit on every single step along the path. I'm like, I got to figure it out. And then I find out, maybe I didn't know who the enemy was. Maybe the finger pointing at me. There are lessons to on and on to teach me. And I still have to be honest about it. Honest with myself. First and foremost. Not with other people. Honest with myself. What is your interest? Are you deluded? Are you crazy like they say you are? Are you not considering it? Are you doing it for this reason? Are you this, that? I ask myself. I consider. Am I really just trying to do this for this? Am I really conceited? Do I really think that I'm better than people? Do I really think am I really crazy? I ask the question posed to me. And I am honest about whether or not it is the case. Hey, are you really Mr. So Smart? Hey, are you really so, what? I don't know. I don't want to be stuck in a corner stroking myself either. I want to be able to be heading in a direction that is accurate. That'll get me where I want to go. Is my life always sunshine and rainbows? No, most of this has been difficult lately. This is kind of the current position we're in. Somebody that's been in my temple and hanging out, and they've asked the question a couple times in recent months, and I have to be honest with them as I am honest with myself. He's like, what the fuck we even do this magic shit? This seems like misery. What? Fuck this. Fuck magic. And I can push back, but yeah, he's right. I consider the same thing. I can keep lying to people if I wanted to about what position I'm in now. I have received some peace, but for a long stretch there, I was in the same boat. Like, why the fuck am I doing this? Fuck this. It's not what I thought it was, and it's not paying off in any capacity. It seems like we're fucked. Right? But then that's what enables me to be honest and to consider whether or not I'm just doing it because I want to be seen as a way, and then for me to fucking say fuck it. I stopped teaching so much on TikTok because I don't care anymore. That wasn't paying off. It was only getting me hurt. People still betray me. Spent Salt Lake City all last year. People just fucking come up and just take advantage of me. And I had to make many choices during my stay there about whether or not I was going to do the things that I was justified in doing, or whether I was going to demonstrate if I valued this other thing more. And a virtue is something you do despite the cookie, right? Because there's a philosophy of, if you are not demonstrating, you say you want people to be honest. You want to trust people. You want people to be loyal. You want people to have integrity. Well, then you need to prove it. How do you prove that? Nobody in your life will have those qualities at all. It will only be a disadvantage of you to be honest, to show, to be trusting, to love, to be compassionate. Do you do it when it doesn't benefit you to do so? Perhaps it only benefits others. Do you do it? Or do you sell it down the river? Answer it truthfully. If every time you're honest, you get hit with a stick, do you act honestly? Do you speak honestly? Or do you say, no, I'm just gonna lie? Because if it can be taken from you, then you never fucking had it. It doesn't belong to you. And so your life is hard. And every time you're given the option to be a piece of shit, there is the demonstration of whether or not you are honest. You are truthful. Those virtues. I accept that I can lie. I lie, it's easy. But when people ask me about things, it's just, the thing is that those are not a binary. Truth and lies. People are like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, but this is what I think is going on. This is what I just tell the story. I act without acting. I'm comparing all these things that I put together in my world. And is that what's happening? Don't know. Don't care. But that's honestly what just come out. I just speak plainly, honestly. This thing, and this thing. What I'm doing right here. I didn't prepare this. I'm not thinking about it. Just whatever come out the mouth. People are like, well, how do you know that? I don't know it. I've experienced some stuff that's led me to these conclusions. Do I know them to be certain and true? No. Well, maybe true, but do I know? I don't have any certainty, because perhaps things in my experience changed that were certain for me, that were concrete for me, that became less so at some position. So even if I did claim that there was some, solidity to this, I also accept that it could change. The world I experience is mostly changed, although it be imperceptible often. And it's very much the same sometimes too, even though it seems to be changing so much. So maybe they're not different, right? They're not so vast. They're just like my left arm and my mirrors. Maybe a lie and a truth. They're not a binary. They're a duality in which they seem so different, but they are much the same. Because if the world is full of just lies, you can be certain that nobody's got the answers. So I should stop listening to people. Nothing that any of them says is true, if they're all liars. And so I can pretty much deduce pretty quickly how things are, right? I know who the good guys and the bad guys are, should there be those things, based on what people say they are. Because they're never telling you about who you are. They're telling you about, who they are, all right? And if they think that Jesus was the Savior, and based on the experiences of my life and people's behavior, if that's your Savior boy, and that's their model, all I know what the result of that is. That's why I don't go plunging into the past, looking for the way forward into the future. Why? Because the past led us to this day, did it not? So I don't deny the wisdom of the past, but I don't need to resurrect the dead, long dead cults of yesteryear, so that we might revisit those. We got there at some point, and we moved on to this point. Why would we go back? I'm not trying to resurrect some dead technology. It's dead for good cause, is it not? Maybe it didn't serve us. Otherwise, shouldn't it still be here? Because the truth is that which stands firm like an oak. And if that oak withered and died, then let it be dead. If it's broke, don't fix it. Build something better, right? Or maybe get rid of the building whatsoever. Maybe that was the problem. You don't really know. And if you tried it one way and it didn't work out for very long, like this country, then stop trying it. You think you're going to get it right this time? Democracy is a failure. It's an abject failure. Even by the fact that it's not been around that long. And quickly it devolved into La Petite Rome Empire, where rich families, rich companies, it's the same as ancient Rome. It's a mirror of the same thing. We can see that at this point, branding it democracy, at the other extreme, it is the same as the empire, and it's even worse, because we can't even be honest about it. And you're all slaves, and none of you will ever get to the position where you're the emperor. You'll always be a slave, because chattel slavery, right? And you guys think that you're free because of democracy, but you're not, because none of you know shit about running the country. So what do you have to say about who should be doing it? Right? So now you have a person who's a demigod, who's the least qualified person on the fucking planet, literally, to be running the country, in charge of running the country. He couldn't even run a fucking a pole into the ground. And he's the one in charge, so to speak. Well, allegedly. Supposedly. It's the extreme of the other thing. Perhaps at the other extreme was a capable, although kind of a devious, deceptive emperor who built an empire, maybe single-handedly, was so good at it. Cain erects fucking an empire that spans until this day. And maybe it's been falling apart ever since and led to democracy, the other extreme, which the majority rule. But the majority fucking at the extreme, so inept that they accident themselves into this position, right? They accident themselves into a position where it balances it out. I don't want to be teeter-tottering back and forth. I don't think the next step is empire. I don't think that we should. I think that there is a type of system which marries both together, and it's neither. Okay? People call it democratic republic. I don't know. It used to be that kings were elected. Okay? They were the vox populi. That is to say, it makes total sense. Right? At some position, you might be able to experience, if you should go through your own alchemical process, that your spirit becomes less gross. You start to fast, you start to do less, you start to meditate, which is the practice of doing nothing, right? Do less, you intake more, you feed the things less, one thing at a time, and eventually you reach this place of peace, of stillness, in which what's going in and what's going out, they're in equilibrium. You transmute it. Loud noise in, silence out. Or you become invisible, no one. That is, all this, like you weren't even there. Like a wrinkle in space or time. In, out, a naked black hole. What they say, right? Nothing. Non-existence. Non-action. Non. It, on, nope. In, out. Well, go in, come right out. In one ear, out the other. You are stillness. You might reach this point. And then this will be so obvious. This fluctuation here, you'll be able to sense it as it ripples through you. You don't cling to it, it just passes right through. But you can sense the subtle variation in the spirits as they pass. They're all able to pass through this vessel because you are the prima materia. You are the philosopher's stone. But, and you don't react. You aren't feeding it just because it passed through. You can observe it. Bing, bong. And so, one in, one out. The subtle body. Very subtle. Because your spirit is in all things, perhaps. It is the quintessence. It is undifferentiated. It is that which you are. Your essence. Right? And you might have all this stuff that's accumulation, but you don't cling to it. It exists. It flows. I might be the Lord of many spirits, but I do not deny that you are also potentially a Lord of your own. Should you demonstrate it, you take that portion which belongs to you. I dispense it to you. You become a prince. But because we shared this place together, it's unlikely that we're going to have the same setup at the end. The amount that I take, about what is that? Maybe it's just perfect little variation. Every setup, just right. Right? So it's not that I'm just, we don't all become one or whatever. Sure. We are just all have similarities. We have a shared world. You grew up, nature, nurture, no matter how you slice it, here we are. So how are you so vastly different than anybody else? And there are different things that are in place to differentiate you in more capacities. They're just like being a part of the rainbow. You might be this color and this color and this color, all these different color variations. But what's the difference between that and a different pattern of the same colors or inverse of colors? Well, they are different, but they're not fundamentally at their essence different. We have colors and the shape and the light. So just like you have a body and you have a voice and you have a life experience, well, your experiences in life aren't so drastically different than other people that you cannot find connection, community, family, belonging. Isn't that what you want? But they aren't so unique. I mean, they aren't so so common that you're just like everybody else. You can aspire to greatness. Do you have to? No. A life worth living is for you to decide. But to find your place in life, you just need to accept that which you are and what you have created for yourself. Well, other people to show, to give credit where it's due, so to speak. Right? I'm Sorcerer Supreme. I figured this out. You didn't. I'm not using this as a thing to hold over your head to hit you with it. But I will hit you I'll hit you every time if you come and try to take it and think that you have a right to it and that you are just as entitled. No, fuck you are. It was my achievement. I suffered greatly to achieve this. You didn't. And I could share it with you, but I'm not going to share it with somebody that's doesn't show me the respect I deserve, having attained these mysteries. Maybe in a life you will aspire to attain these understandings. Do you need to as a no? I accept that maybe you just want to go be a furry somewhere in a furry universe. I don't give a fuck. That's what I do this for. I love magic. Maybe you like fucking being cyber furry or whatever. Fine. You are afforded the right to exist. It's not a competition. Perhaps if I want to go hang out in your weird neighborhood, that experience would be fun for me, or weird, or whatever. It'll be an experience. And if you come to Magic Town, you can expect to see me there. And if you act like you own the place, the fuck you do. And if I walk to Furry Town and act like I own the place, wouldn't that be sort of weird? It's not my vibe. It's not my community. Something that people long forgot. Diversity. Is it not diversity in these ecosystems that bring stability, that bring health, longevity? When you get homogeneity, you get gray. Does it last long? Genetic material fizzles out. For us to continue this game, even if we were one entity, even if that were the case, for us to continue this game, doesn't that mean that you got to go in a direction different from me so that you can have experiences unique to me that I can't predict, so that I can walk towards it and have novel, exciting experiences? You got to pick a direction, I got to pick a direction. And if I say fuck you on the way out, what am I really doing? Am I benefiting myself? Hey, guess what? I hope you fucking eat dicks and die. That's stupid as fuck. I hope it's awesome over there, because when I go back that direction, should I want to go explore it, I hope it's awesome for me. Why the fuck would I condemn you to some shitty, hey, I hope you have a great day. Yeah, you too. I hope everything you do over there is the dopest stuff. I'm going to go this way. I'm interested in magic. But eternity is a long fucking time, is it not? Eternity, man. Can you imagine? Why am I going to shit on the place I might be visiting next? Because maybe to go from fairies and gods and goblins to Star Trek is a little bit of a transition. Kind of abrupt. Maybe you go from fairies to something like Star Wars, fantasy Star Wars, to Star Wars like hard sci-fi to Star Trek. Maybe it's a walk from one place to another, and you can be walking towards fantasy. Maybe that's the next place you want to go. So I'm not going to be shitting everywhere just because I might be passing through. I don't show up in your town when I'm nomad and traveling through and I just dump all my trash. I plan on coming back through. Maybe I don't want to live there forever. Maybe I'm just visiting, passing through, but I'm not going to trash that place. Why would I do that? That would be dumb. Because I don't care about the moment that I'm in this one. I do care about the moment. But I understand the moment. Our lives are moments. Are they not? I can't expect to exist with other people who are honest, even at their own risk, if I'm not willing to be honest at my own risk. I cannot expect to live in a world in which there's not garbage everywhere, if every time I pull into a city, I just dump my garbage, just because I'm not going to stay. That's the tourist behavior that leads to the place that you find yourself in, where people just, I'm a Norse paganist. The fuck you are. You're a tourist, a colonizer, a thief. It doesn't belong to you. You think it does because you were born. You were born white, which doesn't exist. And you think that you have a right to something that you didn't have a right to, because you never fucking lived there in Norway. You never lived among the people that developed those traditions. You think that you're entitled to it because you are fucking a certain color. You are deluded and you're the problem. You're a thief, a liar, a coward. You don't have the courage to create something for yourself and to stand behind it. Nope. You just show up, you pick up, you consume what you want, and then you dump the trash and you move on. That is the behavior. If I aim to stop that behavior, I'm not going to replicate it in my everyday life. You reap what you sow. As within, so without. Do unto others. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Okay? Spirits of actions. If I want to create spirits in the world which do not behave in this way, children of my own perhaps, that other people might benefit from, a tree worthy of good fruit, then the fruit that I'm offering better be the fruit where I don't dump my trash every town I go to. Am I capable of doing so? Yes, but the choice that I make to not do so because it benefits me somewhere else is the strength that maybe developing individuals need to have the intuition, the maybe spontaneous choice emerge for them to be like, well, if I was a dog, I would just sit here and move on, but I have this thought or feeling. Maybe that doesn't work out for me eventually. I don't know. Maybe I'll just shit in this one area, see how it goes. To experiment. Because the conditions of the spirits that people broadly, a bunch of idiots running around, shitting everywhere, they aren't the ones being the motivating force, the only voice. Maybe I give a different path they can walk on. Hey, you can do that if you're cool with it, but my experience is it's not great. You can just go in this one area and it's just, maybe it doesn't pay off immediately, got to walk around the corner, but it does eventually pay off. It's a higher ideal because I have different values at this position as a human than I did as a dog. Right? Because now I'm concerned with individuals who make individual choices, and I'm not part of a larger spirit. Right? I'm not a part of this huge thing. I am making choices individually, and I need to make those from an individual perspective with the consideration of the things that are a part of me, my cells in my body, my organs. I choose in consideration of those, but I choose as the individual. I demonstrate that there is a difference between what is good for the whole, good for the whole, the greater good, you might say, and what is good for the individual. They do not need to be in conflict. I make choices based on a balance between. Does it always benefit me to then be honest to people who will take advantage of me? No, but I don't need to talk to them either. I don't need to put myself in those positions. I don't need to be this. I can withdraw. I don't need to create conditions in which I have to lie. I don't have to tell a lie. I can just not say anything. Am I capable of lying? Of course. Would I benefit in maybe at some position in my life, I might have benefited from lying because I would have got something in the immediate. But those no longer become things that are highly prized for me because those transitory experiences do not result in the thing that I genuinely have a desire for. Connection, intimacy, friendship, companionship, etc. Right? I also understand that the whole might have experienced a type of behavior that causes them to be sort of at a disadvantage when it comes to me as the individual poking and prodding. I understand that because people experience what they perceive as a man who took advantage of them being a type of way towards them might be difficult to accept. I try to be gentle and reinforcing that I'm not every person I ever met. That's in their benefit. It's part of them to separate from this, being a part of this whole conglomeration, to individuate. But I don't lie to put myself in a position to then reinforce that, do I? It doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit them. It actually is a detriment to both of us. And if I want more people to be available for me to be forward about my individualism, my desires, wants, needs, then I need to consider individuals as a member of a larger group, a community. Okay? As above, so below. So these things are all to do with each other. Your soul, your mind, your individual, people call it the soul, right? The light. These are just ways in which you might understand various components. I said I'm a conqueror of the 4 worlds, right? We have this picture back here, 3 worlds. So right now we have your head, your chest, your lower region, your stomach, and your reproductive organs. And then you have your tail, which is then also sort of in this position too, simultaneously. The thing above your head, below you. This is maybe the history, the tale, the story. The lore, what you're writing in front of you, the spell you're casting, right? And you have these worlds that experience various things. And they all make up you, don't they? Your aspirations, the stars, the thing you want to come filter down, it shines in the heavens, right? And then maybe it comes into the world, and that's what you're trying to walk towards. You have this thing that you create, a star, or you create this notion of like a adventure you want to have. And then you plant that seed, and you're trying to walk towards this thing, right? And then your experience that you get goes here, and it informs this thing. So it's like a constantly updating system, sort of. And we're all under these influence of these stars. It's always changing, and we're changing, right? Based on our this sucked. Maybe we modify it. It's just a loose. It's the thing that we reduce to gold, right? But it's not set as a. It can be. It's not. Everything is subject to change, even though it might be somewhat have longevity. My aim is to have that tree grow and grow and grow. And the roots and the branches then are the same place. They grow towards each other, right? The tail is my root. I am the tail. Here. And there's this experience in here. It's transitory, right? And there may be many individuals who are under this, who want to do magic. And we're going different ways, right? And then that's how you can form different trees. Where they're the same, you meet in the middle, the trees in the, okay? And here you are, you experience one side, it's like you might call it the future, it's shining down on you. It passes through you, and it goes to the past. But the past informs the future a little bit, doesn't it? What your experience was informs maybe where you go from that position. Yes? Where I am right now, how I'm experiencing this moment, maybe determines, in some capacity, based on my preference, where I might want to go from here. Is there somewhere that it's definitely going to be? No. I could choose from a variety of things. But I have a predominant sort of list of things that might be sort of part of this that I want to explore, a branch. I might go, oh, okay, I want to go left. At this point, we can go lots of different types of magic. We can go like high fantasy, we can go, I don't really have a strong preference so far. I don't have enough experience yet to have a preference. I have to seek and to determine, I have to have the experience to be like, oh, this one's my favorite. Maybe many of us will go in different directions, being different species, that is the individuation. We're going different ways. Oh, I'm going to be a fucking dragon creature and be Sorcerer Supreme. And this person is going to be a first-time elf wizard, and we'll figure it out. Through that process, we determine the things that are most valuable to us. Our gold. But any experience, you do it for a while, maybe you want some change of pace, right? Maybe you want to go somewhere else. And so then, is it a tree? We're all kind of, they're just growing towards each other. And it's like, the other thing I have to understand about the cosmos is that the image of the universe, the little thing is the big thing, right? If I zoom in on this circle, and it gets bigger and bigger, right? And also, there's a little center here, and as it gets bigger and bigger, I'm zooming out from this screen like this. The circle's getting bigger, but I'm zooming out. How big does the circle get? Does it stay the same size? Well, you can see my perspective of the screen is getting smaller, isn't it? But the circle keeps getting bigger and bigger, right? Bigger and bigger. Then I zoom out, and it looks like it stays the same size. It's both and neither. It's about perspective. It's about ratio, right? Aspect ratio. This is getting bigger. This screen is getting smaller. And so it's doing both. Right? If the branches are growing this way and the roots are growing this way and they're coming together and they're, just being destroyed in this, then it's always growing bigger, but it's also staying the same. And past the future, they're being destroyed in each other, aren't they? The thing that went in the past, it's the roots that I collect in the record as it passes out, and then it goes destroyed. And then the future comes down, it rains down, boo. And this can maybe inform this a little bit, right? Because I'm going to maybe determine where I'm going to go. I'm maybe going to take a left here, based off of my experience. This flame that I keep here in the center, maybe. My wisdom. Well, what was fun? What else can I explore? I don't have to worry about the tree growing too out of control, because it's not about extremes anymore. It's about things that are ways in which we can experience that have nothing to do with binaries. They are not to do with even polarities. They're to do with things that are illusions. Right? Sort of. They are just, it's a model. And particularly, this becomes more robust if I'm like these worlds. And I have this one, but next to me there's one. Your star, maybe. We're like this. Standing next to each other. And then each one of these, they're just filtering down. And this becomes like, with each tail going to them. Now the tree of life is in the center, isn't it? And we're standing around it. What are we doing? Maybe we're just holding hands. While we're experiencing. It's me, and it's you, and the branches they cover, the roots they cover, and we stand under it at the center. Why are we at the base of the Bodhi tree at the center? Because that's what we are. I bear good fruit. I hope to. My wings, I cover others next to me, the tree, whatever you want to frame it as. Maybe this thing, the tower, the tree, the dragon, the body, maybe these things, each is in each. Maybe I'm all those things. Okay. Maybe the things that I'm not, I joyfully surrender to those who find it their joy to be. Perhaps we can recognize that because we have the capability of something, great harm, it gives us the ability to not do so, which shows us each other our grace. When somebody hits me and I don't hit back, maybe it's because I understand they didn't intend to, or I give them the benefit of the doubt, or because of the strength not to retaliate, not because I'm too weak. Right? My experience has been in any position where I felt like I was acting in hubris, in retrospect, if I was acting rashly out of fear, what cured my sickness was not in the direct experience of the pain. It was not in some reward. It was after the fact of the experience of pain and earning my way through, pushing through it, and being defiant and finding my own feet and saying, I'm going to continue to walk to this direction where there'll be happiness, even though I was being abused. Later, when I finally escaped from the position I thought I was foisted upon me, that I was shackled to, when I looked back and I saw that I had done it to myself, that is where the healing came. The tale of being the hero, it was only so useful as to walk out of the place I was, to embolden myself, to build the courage to keep pushing on. And then, when I sat and rest, recuperation, no longer needing to be this thing, I looked back and I said, as I sent the spirits back to do the thing to me. Perhaps I accumulated some spirits in some moment here, and I needed to have them resolve somewhere, so that I had to send them back to cause harm to somebody. I built up a bunch of spirits through this process. Now I need to fix it. All these spirits. And so, boom, attack. I played the good guy and the bad guy. Because I needed to be one, I'd be the other. Boom. Boosh. And then I say, oh, what a fool. And this is not a thing that I'm trying to free myself from necessarily. It's only to encourage every moment in which I'm walking or exploring to find it a step on the path towards my best life, you might say, or my most beautiful outcomes. Because in any moment, I may be doing this. And that's what needs to thrust me forward so that I can be here to do this. This is clarity. This is understanding. This is mercy. This is forgiveness. This is healing. This is saying, we don't need to go so fast. Because when we're resting here, often the rush that we had to get there is a painful one. All I need to do is chew one step at a time. Today, if it takes me getting my ass nuked over and over again to be able to cast fireballs, I perhaps really want to do fireballs, but I don't need to be nuked all at once. I can do it a little bit at a time. And when I need to take a break, just sit. And I don't have to project whose fault it is. I know whose fault it is. My fault. I want to see fireballs. If my will truly is strong, I really want to see fireballs, then I will endure whatever it takes to do so. Should something emerge where I don't want to do it anymore, that's what it'll be. That's kind of where I've been for a little bit, right? And so I don't allow myself to be on a trajectory because it's the easiest. I don't allow myself to trajectory. I just take the experience every day that is worth living, worth doing. It's a story worth telling. I don't want to just, I would be okay with receiving some big cash out of magic power right now because of all this stuff I've endured, and I'm basically done with this shit. I don't want to feed this thing. So I rest, and I sit and wait, and I say, all right, let's change it up. Pick a different direction. I'm going to get fireball still, but it's not going to be this way. It took me this to get to this point to make the decision. Understand? So I just sit and wait. I rest. The spirit dissipate. I say, okay, well, not that way. You don't want to be beat up all the time. No, I want to have some good time. I don't want the whole journey to be miserable. Because the destination, the fireballs, well, what's next? I don't want every trek to be a fucking miserable. I want to explore and have fun. For that to be joyous, not to be dreary every time. So I try to sit in stillness. I can always return to this. Subtle. Right? Quiet. Still. Peaceful. And let things just, ooh, for the ripple to fade and be still. I can always just wiggle a little bit. But right now, I don't need to. Non-action. The future is coming on. Oops, you're wrong. Symbols. Common. 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 Because N, right? And then Mirror man. See that? Mm-hmm. I did that fucking that. So get all in there. And Okay. Okay.